Welcome to Healing Generations, a podcast creating a dialogue uplifting the importance of healing, strengthening, and supporting our communities, and that addresses the disparities and inequities in communities of color. Healing Generations is brought to you by the Healing Generations Institute, a collaborative initiative of the National Compadres Network and the Brotherhood of Elders. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on our new releases.
Okay, well, we just want to welcome everyone today. It's another beautiful day up here in the Bay. This is Deborah Luis Camarillo coming from Ohlone territory up in the San Francisco Bay Area, and very excited to be in this podcast. We're going to have a wonderful adventure today, and just grateful. The rain has come in. The plants were so thirsty, and so very grateful to Creator for sending us some of that water, and just nature alone, right? The cleansing that happens when that water comes down is happening for us up here in the Bay Area. So very grateful for a wonderful day, another day of breath and life. Comadre, how is it going down south over there? How are you guys doing?
Wonderful, comadre. Thank you so much. Yeah, cold, always this time of the season. Just trying to stay warm, keep my joints warm. And just looking forward to, Los Angeles, California. A lot of celebration going on at this time of the year. But I'm just looking forward, to all the comfort food that we get to enjoy at this time. Los tamales, la champurrado, las salsas, all the pan dulces, and all the comforts of home that we remember growing up. Our abuelitas making all that special comida. So it's a couple of weeks away from there. So just preparing for that wonderful time.
Yes, that is so true. And the many different ways that we celebrate this time, right?
Yes.
So we come from all different parts. Our ancestors came from all different parts, and we all have our uniqueness in celebrating this time of the year and just loving that. And today, comadre, we've got another wonderful guest with us today that's going to share, her life with us and her experiences. And that's the beauty, right? That we get to hear from so many different people. And I also know in that share, as you're listening, there's going to be words. There's going to be healing words that's going to go to your ears. And we're so grateful that you're joining us today. Wherever you're at in the world, we want to welcome you. And we want to just remind you, this is your time. As you're listening to this conversation, wherever you're at, make it your time, a time for you to hear words that are going to be uplifting, words that are going to remind you of maybe experiences that you might have went through, and words that are going to bring a little bit more healing into your life. And so without no further ado, comadre, let's share with our audience, who do we have with us today for our conversation?
Oh, it's an honor. It's an honor, comadre. It's been trying to connect with her for a long time. And I know, I always trust in divine timing of Creator and ancestors. And I know today's that day. So I'm thanking Creator and the ancestors for arranging this and bringing this powerful mujer to all of us. I know she has a long journey, so many experiences and things to share. I know our mujeres that will be listening, and all those that are listening are definitely going to learn some things today that are going to help them in their own healing, help them on their own journey, and give them that inspiration that they need to go forward as she has. She is Luz Negrón, a mujer boricua, born and raised in Puerto Rico. She came to California at the age of 35. She's also a mother of two beautiful daughters, Lucero and Solimar. She is the abuelita, the grandmother of Austin and Adrian. She's been living in the beautiful city of Riverside, California for the last 35 years. She has faced many aventuras, a lot of adventures, a lot of challenges and struggles. When she found herself here as a single mom with her two beautiful daughters, she was all by herself. She did not know the language of this country. She was without a job. But she's also made of hard wood, Guayacan, the strongest woods of Puerto Rico. And she has worked a multitude of jobs until she found her passion with working in the community at the Rape Crisis Center with Mujeres Latinas. Eventually, Luz had landed a job at the Riverside County Department of Mental Health, which she just retired from after 27 years of dedicated service. She's also become very involved in her community around issues of culture, the arts, historical preservation. She has served as a commissioner for the City of Riverside Human Relations and Parks and Recreation Commissions, and currently serves as a board member of the Museum of Riverside, the Riverside Save Our Chinatown Committee, as well as the Riverside Multicultural Council. Her motto is, do not leave this life without making your mark. Y esa marca es la cultura. Oh, so excited to have you here this morning, Luz. Thank you for joining us, and wonder if you could share a little bit about yourself, your family, your background, and maybe what you're connected to at this time. Whatever comes out of your corazón, whatever comes out of your spirit. We're all ears. We're all here to welcome all your medicina that you bring.
Bueno, pues antes que nada, muchísimas gracias, Débora y Susi, por la invitación para ser parte de esta entrevista del National Comadres Network. En otras palabras, para la Coalición Nacional de Comadres. Para mí es de gran orgullo saber que esto es un sueño hecho realidad en el sentido de que muchas mujeres a través de las ondas mágicas radiales pueden seguir haciendo sus tareas o sus compromisos diarios, pero a la misma vez capacitarse, educarse y motivarse a través de los mensajes que ustedes transmiten. Muchísimas gracias.
You're welcome, and thank you. The importance, right, of not losing that mother tongue, right?
Sí.
So I want to ask you, Luz, because I know you had to transition here and learn a new language. And so how was that experience? So can you think about your early days and share with us about that early time?
Pues claro que sí. Yes, I have several experiences. Some of them might be funny and some of them might be challenging. I start getting nervous, like poniéndome nerviosa each time that I speak English. And like the Puerto Rican, we say when we make a mistake, we say ponemos un huevo, like como las gallinas, like the hens, like the chicken. So I said, you know what? I'm going to start laughing about all my mistakes and I just learning. And besides that, I know 2 languages, not only Spanish, I know English también. So I decided to not to be afraid and just go with the flow. And it wasn't only the English language, because I adore California because the diversity de la gente, of its people. And even I have many funny experiences with the Mexican community. In terms of Spanish language or palabras or modismos that we use to classify differences, and also cultural, because when I arrived, I remember that somebody knocked at the door. I opened the door and it was a person selling a life insurance. And I don't know why I started laughing. And I said, I don't need life insurance. I already have guardian angels. So the person, probably the person, thought, oh, this is una persona loca. Maybe she's not right. So the person keep walking. Then another time, I say I am Puerto Rican. And the person said, Puerto Rican? What kind of Puerto Rican? Are you white? Are you black? Are you brown? Brown, between parentheses. Personally, I don't like description for us, like brown de qué? I am not brown. I have a culture and I have a heritage. So I resist to use those words like brown and also Latinx, because Latinx, tanto que, for many, many years, las mujeres, the women fighted to be included, even it is global as Latinas y Latinos. No, ahora somos Latines. ¿Qué es eso? I mean, that doesn't define culture. That doesn't define in any way gender. So I don't use those words because not all the bad words are bad words. There are other words like those that are bad words. So anyway, coming back, the person asked me, what kind of Puerto Rican you are? You are brown, you are black, or you are white? And then I responded, it was a surprise me. And I said, oh, I am not any of them because I am all of them. I am Puerto Rican. So I think that the cultura is very important, las raíces, the roots, and that is something that is we respect the organized institutions like con permiso de todas, like the school and churches to follow up in traditions. But yeah, that's fine. But what that means, we have to develop with the kids critical thinking and to compare and all that. So when we have raíces profundas, when our roots are deep, forget about bullying because they can tell you perro muerto en la cara. They can tell you whatever they want, but you know who you are. And not only you know who you are, you might feel compassion for the other person that is bullying you because for sure that person or that other kid or teenager is being bullied at home. So, ¿y qué? So la cultura, la educación familiar es bien importante. Por eso es, el fortalecimiento de la familia tiene que tener una base cultural y de tradición. Por supuesto, there are traditions that doesn't serve us anymore or that we have to renew to make it more, truthful. And that's fine. But if you have those raíces very deep, it won't nothing. I have many problems like in my job application. When they say other, I always put Puerto Rican. I never put anything else. And then people say, why'd you put Puerto Rican there? Nobody does that, but I do. Because la reafirmación is very important. There was a transition when my two daughters came to school, and I can see the difference because I was still, good but naive. So one day the telephone rang and they asked for my oldest daughter, Lucero, but they didn't say Lucero. As a matter of fact, Lucero means morning star because I want their names to mean something, even though she wake up late, but she's a morning star. Anyways, the telephone ring and they say, may I speak with Lucy? And I say, I'm sorry, there is no Lucy here. And they say, no, yeah, in Miss whatever classroom. Then I call her, say, Lucero, somebody is referring to you as Lucy and they wants to talk to you. So I passed the telephone, she spoke and everything. And then when it was over, I said, Lucero, were you telling them that your name is Lucy? And she said, oh, Mom, because the teacher was doing the roster and when she got to my name, instead of Lucero, she said Ranchero.
Oh,
Everybody
no.
started laughing. So automatically I became Lucy. And there was no God that made her change her name for Lucy until she graduated from high school. But I was firme, como una machaca. Lucero, Lucero, Lucero. Well, after she graduated from high school, then she became Lucero again. So that made me become more militant in terms of culture. So with my second daughter, Solimar, which means sun and sea, I didn't lose 1 minute with her in terms of making her proud of her roots, telling her how to teach other people to pronounce their name. Because if we have a hard time, and it's okay, you can learn Mandarin, French, any other language. But when we are here, we're very strict for you to learn English. Está bien. But I don't gonna change my name because make it easy for your pronunciation. You're not gonna do that. So I really trained very well Soliman. And that was so good that when she was in elementary school, she kept talking about Puerto Rico. And then that got the teacher mad. And the teacher asked her, Solimar, when did you came from Puerto Rico? And Solimar replied, I was born here. I didn't born in Puerto Rico. So that's what it is. It may sound a little bit fanatic, but this is the thing. It's not for us to feel superior to other groups or better than other Latinos. No. Because if you know the struggles, the history, and your culture, you respect and venerate other people cultures. And then you start looking for similarities. It's like the Mexican, they smash the beans and we eat the whole bean, the red kidney bean. But at the end, it's lo mismo, they're beans. So we start related to any culture and see all those similarities. So in the beginning, I just start laughing when I make mistakes. I forgot to mention that I work with the Riverside Community College. That was in the beginning that I started working with this community college, but you have to survive, doing registration for students. And in my life, I have touched not even a typewriting. Forget about computers. And they say, do you know this? Do you know that? And everything I say yes. I don't know how many yes I said, but I say yes. Well, when it was the first day of job, I sit down next to this young girl that she knows everything. And I say, oh my God, Papa Dios, how we gonna, me van a votar, how we gonna go ahead? So what I did is I memorized, looking at the girl next to me, all the key numbers and letters that she used to register students, and I memorized it. Nobody ever knew that I didn't know anything about typing, but it was a way to survive.
Yeah. What I hear in your conversation, Luz, is the resiliency, the ability to, no matter what the circumstance is, that resiliency, that strength that you were sharing, that's connected to that cultural anchor, help guide you in order to deal with all the circumstances that came your way. And so, as you were sharing, your experiences and just having to, to just contend to deal with whatever came your way, what are those specific cultural teachings that have helped influence you to not give up, to not just surrender, to give you the strength to have to go forward and raising your two daughters by yourself? What are those particular cultural teachings that influenced you in your journey?
Well, maybe that when I was growing up in Puerto Rico with my mom and my dad came from a big family. They were a little bit well off. Estaban bien. They were okay in a way. And the side of my mother, they were very poor. And my abuelita, Norberta Rivera Nieves, we call her Mami Berta. She was a magician in terms of making coconut candy and coconut ice cream to sell through her little wooden window in her little wood house. And for me, she was a goddess. And also, she was a healer. She was a curandera. I was amazed how she was teeny tiny, chiquita, indiecita. And I was wondering that I never heard her complaining about nothing, not even saying, being angry. She just worked. She knew her role. She have 7 kids. My grandfather, Marcelino, he came from Spaniard ancestry, so probably he felt that he was the special one. So he did have a job and everything, but I never saw him helping my grandmother. And I have the experience of seeing her, but I was just there as a witness. I didn't say anything. I just see her. She was healing my dad with her hands, how she gave me baños de plantas, how when one of her boys, my uncle Tio Chelo, got a feet infected with these waters, and she took him to the hospital, and they told my abuelita that they have to cut my tio's leg, and she said no. Yo me lo llevo para la casa. I taken him home. And she took my tío Chelo, my tío Marcelino, to his house. And my tío Marcelino just passed away a couple of years ago of 86 years old. And my tío Marcelino, he went to the Korean ward because there was a very big need in Puerto Rico. There was so much poverty. So he was the only one who went to that ward that he just hated. And with the money that he earned, he was able to add an additional room to the humble casita where my abuelita lived. And he became a wood master person. He was very skilled in his job. So I think that seeing how the struggle go and how she was so, and as I said, she was teeny tiny. One morning she was making cafe prieto, black coffee, because she always wake up, at 4 in the morning. That was her only 2 vicios. The only thing that she does, she was the best chef cooker in the world, but she drink a lot of black coffee and chew tobacco. That was her thing. So anyway, she wake up at 4 in the morning and she was doing the coffee and she felt 2 hands trying to reach her from the back. 2 hands that came through the window. And she thought that was one of the boys of El Barrio that she always was giving food. And she said, his name was Chewi, and she said something like, hold a little bit, Chewi, and I'm going to give you the coffee. So she served the coffee and turned around to give it to Chewi. But when she looked at man, she said, you are not Chewi. So she took a machete that she had underneath the stove because she was little. She took the machete, a big long machete, and told him, wait over there, cabron, that I'm gonna cut you in pieces. And then she followed the man, and the man flew from the neighborhood. So that was my abuelita Berta. So maybe it was an orderly message that don't be afraid of danger, or don't be afraid of el cuco or del bulto. Don't be afraid. So that was that. Then I grew up, and as the only thing in those times in Puerto Rico, your heritage, the only thing that you have is education. So my abuelita put a lot of pressure, at least for my aunts, to go to school. So she got one of my aunts was the first person to go to the University of Puerto Rico and became a teacher in those times. She had to walk to the university, and when she come back, she have to help my abuela, also my mother, to wash clothing for other people. And then after that, then I come because there was not electricity, with a lamp. Then they start doing homework. So all that struggle, but education was also number one. And I think that even though I was able to enter the University of Puerto Rico, but I never finished it. I never finished it because many reasons. One of them is that I got involved with the arts. And in those time, we were a lot of high school students with good grades and no jobs, and some college and no jobs. So we got inspired by these artists. And if you go to University of Puerto Rico radio, on Fridays at 1 p.m., he has a program. His name is Antonio Martorell, and he's still alive. So he have in El Barrio, in a poor neighborhood, they have un estudio. It was called Taller Alacrán. And when you enter that place of 2 floors, it was another place. It was like an universe of paintings and colors and signs, and most of them have to do with social justice and Puerto Rican rights. So a group of us we were friends because we started becoming friends at the Catholic Church, but they throw it away because we did an event and we raised the Puerto Rican flag. So the priest said that he was writing to the Pope to excommunicate all of us. And we say, well, we're not even interested of coming back. So we were looking for something to create because there was no job in Puerto Rico. So after the visit to El Taller Acrán de Antonio Martorell, we decided to create our own taller. So we did, and we call it Taller de Artesanía Guasábara. Guasábara is an indigenous Taino word that means batalla, battle. And what we thought in those times that our battle was cultural. So we dedicate ourselves to work and learn to work in different medias like coconut, paper mache, silk screens, wood, all that. And we create the Taller Guasábara. After that, we get together with some other artisans and we form the Gremio de Artesanos Puertorriqueños. And we were very militant because everything have to be done of high qualities and with real Puerto Rican symbols. We didn't allow anything that were fake. From there, we jumped and create the Hermandad Nacional de Artesanas y Artesanos Puertorriqueños. That lasts for 10 years, and we create the first artisan market in El Viejo San Juan at the Parque Luis Muñoz Marin, and the rest is a story. So that is just a little background of how culture is in my veins, If
Absolutely.
So I cannot, and then sometimes people say, oh, Luz, you're too much, but no, not too much. Yeah, and that's why, I do that. And did I mention that I used to work with mental health?
No.
No? Okay. But we need a lot of mental health. Mental health
Absolutely.
is good. So in my job, I have challenges, and with the time I speak out. So, when you speak out, ¿verdad? You become la ovejita negra. So, but I don't know why I don't care, but I didn't care. So I think that in la unión está la fuerza. So I create a network of amistades in the whole building. So yeah, I am respectful. I am official. Everything you want with supervisors and managers. Yeah, I know. But I have a network with all the secretaries, other people, even with the janitors. That anything that happens in the building, I knew it. I knew it before it happens.
So that's what they call organizing, right? Grassroots organizing.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Right?
probably. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Those relationships.
Yeah. Then we organize because the job is important but boring because each time that you bring new ideas to the table, they throw it away. It's hard to have a seat in the table. So if you cannot have it in a normal manner, then you create all these networks. Plus, besides, we created with the different staff of the building a cultural group that we name it Oso Negro Cultural Awareness Celebration Committee. And we name it Oso Negro because our last speaker was a native speaker that was the chaplain of Patton Hospital. They even let him build a temescal in the hospital, but he passed away after he spoke because we brought speaker from outside the community because the philosophy of this group is that we are always doing things for the community. Yeah, that's beautiful. But the people that work in clinics, that is a community. And we have to know them. We need to know where coming from, their cultures, and let them share. So that was something very clever that the group did. And we worked it out for years. That's why we call ourselves Oso Negro, because this native, his name was Larry Bear. But he told his mom when he was little that the other students were laughing at him because of the word bear. So the mom said, okay, well, just Larry. But then when he became a man, as a matter of fact, he served at the Vietnam War. And I think that was all for him, especially for a native man. He took back the bear. So he was Larry Bear. So that's why we know that bear is an oso. So we call it Oso Negro, Cultural Awareness Celebration Committee. And we hold this, I think, in Riverside, in the county of Riverside. They don't see it because they are kind of blind with culture. They don't see. So that's what you have to reaffirm yourself with offerings and demonstration of art and successful stories, especially from the youth. We hold for over 10 years un altar del Día de los Muertos, where initially we thought that mostly we would be going to have Mexican participants, but it wasn't like that. Our work was so good that in that altar we have, employees from different ethnic backgrounds, and we got closer because we know the stories of their dear ones. So all this, when you travel with your education, and if you don't have a formal education, you do it yourself. So I always voy a donde no me llaman. If there is a committee, ahí voy yo. I mean, I am back up now because there was a time where I do have to do that.
Right.
But you have to get involved.
So you're bringing a really important part, right? That within this system, they don't make room for communities of color. And so a lot of the times we're having to make our own room.
Exactly.
Right? And I love that part of when we look at relationships, and especially indigenous communities, we're all about relationship. And so it was even seen in the way that you're describing about the altar that was so welcoming to bring other indigenous communities there, no matter where they came from. And so the honoring of that. Maestra, you wanted to say something?
Absolutely. As Luz is speaking, she has so many dimensions. It's obvious she's been gifted and blessed with so many powerful teachers in her life. For her to be able to just walk through those doors as they open, those opportunities that come to her. And I want to go back to something that she said in the beginning, because I feel like this is so important. I know if I would have learned this lesson way back when she did as a young girl, that foundation and those lessons would have prevented me from doing a lot of things that I did and encouraged me to go for what my spirit knew that it could do. That teaching she mentioned in the very beginning from her grandmother. Her grandmother, it's obvious, has been a very powerful maestra for her, has been a powerful example for her. And I feel that that foundational lesson, we come back to that, was do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to make mistakes, because these mistakes are lessons. They're not failures. They're lessons to be learned that bring us deep, deep wisdom. I wish our young girls, I wish myself, one of them, my own daughters, could learn this lesson, because, fear is so paralyzing. It prevents us from doing many, many things and achieving the goals that Creator has set for us because we're afraid. It's obvious she is fearless. She is fearless for whatever Creator puts in her path. And I know that what she said earlier, I'm protected by angels. I'm protected by Creator and my ancestors. I know, Luz, your ancestors are so proud of you. Your children, I have no doubt where they get their strength from, where they get their beauty, where they get their perseverance. You are that example for them. I know Creator is exceptionally proud of you for utilizing all the gifts you've been given in every realm, whatever that is. But I'd like to know, if you can, think of some of those core teachings like this: be fearless and don't be afraid. What are some other core teachings that you learned traditionally from your elders that you would like to make sure that your daughters know and that you use professionally or personally in all the relationships that Creator puts in your path? What are some of those core teachings? Because not being afraid to make mistakes, not being afraid to try anything, to be fearless, those are so powerful. Are there some other lessons that we can take those jewels with us and keep with us in our heart along our journey to give us that strength to accomplish things like you have?
See, I will say that sometimes we make the mistake of, you can talk about art and somebody will say, oh, I am not an artist. But we are all artists. We are all creators. And the good thing about art is that there is no mistake. Whatever you do is an expression of yourself that probably have a meaningful, message that you may not understand it or know about it, but it's there. So very in the past, I used to do clay workshops. And going back to my abuelita Berta, she was a creator. She did the coconut rice. She does so many culinary things that were excellent and high quality, that she didn't let herself die, like pobrecita me, And I remember when I became a single mom, even though I got some child support from Solimar, that it wasn't enough, because eso se iba todo en el child care, the whole thing. So there wasn't nothing left. And I have two daughters, and I didn't still have steady jobs, just boberias, little things here and there. But in Riverside, they started a Wednesday market. And in Puerto Rico, I did a couple of here too, but here I mean in Riverside, California. But I remember, I can do clay, like do pots, workshop, potecitos, something very simple. and the tools, very rarely I buy tools. I use different things that can produce beautiful shapes, like shells and kitchen utensils, things like that, everything. And I said, well, in this Wednesday market, I can do a workshop. But because I was involved in different things, because I didn't know nobody, so I really need everybody to know me. So I developed relationships. So I went to the organizer of the Wednesday market. I say, hey, mira, I would like to do this. What is the lower fee, to participate? And she told me, for you, pues nada, you just come. So I didn't have to pay. So I spoke with my dear friend Adelita that sells in the SWAT meet. As a matter of fact, Adelita sells in the SWAT meet, but she have a diploma as an accountant from de la Universidad Autónoma de México. Pero you know how it is. Somos emprendedoras y emprendedores, Ahí en la lucha es que está el fuego, So I asked, hey, Adelita, can you let me use your Easy Up? Yeah. So I went to Wednesday Market. I brought my brown clay, barro rojo, that is the clay that I use. And I set up and put in a box for donation. If you don't have money, if you don't have dinero, you can do it for free. I don't care. But it will be a $1 donation to do a mini pot. And I enjoyed that so much. I mean, it was because I have a necessity of getting money, but all the stories, because not only little kid, there was a lot of Latin American people that comes and they start bringing memories from the country. Oh, yeah, we used to do this, y el horno de leña, and the whole thing. I love all that. So the thing is, to make the story short, that I made $45 every Wednesday, and I went every Wednesday. So with those $45, I did la compra de la semana. And I keep doing it until I got, the job at the Rate Prices Center. So then, pues lo dejé but what I said is that came from the hard working that was my abuelita.
Mm-hmm.
And she never gave up ever. So I guess that's why education is very important. You take it with you. Nobody can steal it for you.
Yes,
And,
right.
and you can be, we are all artists. Somos artistas y creadores. Uh-huh.
I want you to share a story, because I've had the privilege to sit with you and have conversations. And by the way, all of our audience listeners, she is an amazing cook. If anything she puts her hands on and creates whatever you're going to eat, I guarantee you it will be delicious.
Oh,
but we have had many conversations, and you shared with me a story that I would love our audience to hear. And it's the story when you began to work at the Domestic Violence Center, and you didn't even know how to speak English, and you had to give a presentation, and you didn't know what in the world you were going to do. Can you share about that story?
Oh, yeah, because there is a saying that you fake it until you make it. Pues, if you remember the computer thing that I was memorizing, las teclas, so I never make a mistake. I cannot believe it, how, I did it. So when I was assigned to do an in-person presentation, I was so happy because I was hired as a Spanish speaker. Mi español es, forget it, bien chévere. So, I read, I write, I do anything in Spanish. Anyway, I say, esto va a ser talao, bacalao. I made it. So anyway, voy bien, gracias, mujer preparada vale por dos, A woman that is ready is like
two.
It's like two. Okay. Anyway, so gracias a Dios, people criticize me a lot because ando con papeles. I always carry papers. Well, right now I have papers just in case a good thought come of the conversation. I can put it down, but I love paper. Anyway, well, I got to do that presentation. I took a brochure of the company. The brochure was in English, and I go to the place to do the presentation. When I got to the place, they sent me to a very elegant area, And the majority were men's, and they have a suit, very elegant. And I said, oh my God, ¿en qué lío me he metido yo aquí? But, I was sent over there to do a presentation. And I say, okay, well, because you know what? Things that are able to help me in critical times is being funny, do jokes, or shaking hands. So if I go into an interview, for sure I'm gonna shake the hand of all the people that are interviewing me and asking how they're doing today. I mean, some people don't do that. I do it because that made me feel that they are like me. They're human. They are not superior or anything else. So when I saw that panorama, I said, oh my God. Okay. Then I say, oh, good afternoon. My name is so-and-so, Luz Negrón, and I'm here representing this organization. And then I said, could you please raise your hands? How many of you know Spanish? And no one raised their hand.
Oh.
And then I say, wonderful, because I don't know English. And then I apologized. I said, I'm sorry. I thought that it was a Spanish speaking audience. So, but I am so fortunate that I have the brochure here. And it's in English. I'm going to read it to you. And if you have a question, just raise your hand. Well, the series that did the presentation, I was surprised. They applaud. And then on my way out, I told me, Luz, te salvaste. But next time, pregunta, to whom you're gonna, ask the staff, what kind of group is this?
Well, and I think that that's the amazing part, right? Because if there's one thing that will help us, right, to deal with whatever situation comes our way, is to allow that freedom to embrace the circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the way that happened in a humorous way, and it's not going, oh my God, I can't do this. No, it's about embracing the circumstance and then doing it the best that you can. And I think when we allow our spirit to be free in that way, then we will go into these adventures and accomplish things that we never thought we could. And with that being said, because I know that our time's getting limited, I just wanted to share this. Luz, that's very humble because she's not going to tell you these things, but she received an award in 2019 from the mayor's state of the city. So it's an award that comes from the mayor, and this is in the city of Riverside, and it was from Dr. Carlos Cortez, and the award was the Award of Championing Diversity and Inclusivity. And so she received this award, which is a very big thing. And on that, I want to ask you this. There's no doubt that you have made change in your community. There's no doubt that you have relationships that have been a result of your creativity and your love of culture. And there's no doubt that there has been many challenges. And I want you to think about the next generation, okay? And so what would be some of the consejos that you would leave for the generation that is about to come, and also some consejos for us as elders, for us not to forget, for us to keep conscious about? What would be some of those consejos?
Well, in this society, the elderly beings are forgotten. And that is part of psychology of the media that celebrates skinny bodies, white bodies, and this artificial beauty. And if you have the honor of becoming an elder, I will say that share your memories, because the elders are the memory of the familia. They're the memory of the culture. They're the memory of the la cultura. Because if you know all the lies that has been written in books that are not true, and who have that information of the real thing, are the people that being honored to live longer. So living longer is a privilege. So I will say uplift yourself. Also, this is very personal, but do not go to an elderly center to die over there. Go where the youth is. Volunteer to read stories, and even in Espanol, to the kids, to the little kids. Do fun thing, become a clown. I mean, bring alegría, bring alegría to your soul. Because if not, you're gonna die like, una cosa ahí. So remember, you are the library of the heritage of the familia. So share your stories. And you know what? We all experience that. We have younger generation or granddaughters or grandsons that they don't want to listen, even daughters, but don't give up. They are ignorant. They don't know better. So you keep where people can listen to you. Volunteer for younger generations. And for youth, you have seen stickers everywhere. Education is expensive, but ignorance costs more. Education, we have to make it no matter what. If you have to sell newspaper, whatever you can, create a business with other youth, So you can sponsor your education, or you sponsor someone who doesn't have. So volunteerism is very, very important, and not giving up. And do not buy, oh, that is too expensive. Create, make a collective of people that can put money on, and maybe even buy a property and start, do not give up, because the future is ours.
Wow.
Yes. Gracias. Powerful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Wow.
So much medicina I'm taking away today from your teachings, from your example, being fearless, remembering we're all creators. Don't be afraid to express ourselves, being resilient, having perseverance, making connections, not being afraid, always being willing to make connections with others, because we need others to help us to grow into our sacred purpose. Don't forget to laugh, and always bring joy to our souls. Gracias. Powerful medicina. Thank you so much.
There's so many takeaways. And just like when we said at the beginning of the podcast,
right?
See, you can't sit here and not walk away with something that's going to heal your soul. I'm taking away that as elders, we are the library of our cultural and family memories. How beautiful is that? And that's such a different perspective, right? Of what the society says here. Oh, the elders, it's kind of like a throwaway. No, this is a bringing in an appreciation of the length of life, the wisdom, the memory, the stories.
Priceless.
And I just want to just let our audience know the importance. Maybe there's an elder around you that nobody visits, that nobody talks to. This is an opportunity to pass on life, to pass on joy, to volunteer of yourself, giving of yourself to them, so that those memories stay alive, that life continues to flow. And also to our youth, don't forget who you are. Really, that deep rootedness of your culture, whatever that is, whatever part of the world that you come from, honor that. We are so grateful this morning to have with us Luz Negrón. What a joy to have had you this morning. And I think, the humor, there's so much healing in humor and laughter. So
Yes.
I just want to thank you. And I want to thank also our listeners. Thank you for joining us again. Thank you for being with us and giving us this time to sit together and have a conversation to remind us of who we are and where we come from. Because that is truly the healing for our generation and for our generations to come. And so, comadre, any last words as we wrap this up?
God bless you. Adelante.
Muchas gracias a Susi Armijo y a Débora Camarillo. Son grandes maestras y mujeres hermosas de mucho poder. Que sí, les deseo muchas bendiciones en su camino, many blessings in your path, and keep doing this beautiful job.
Gracias,
Thank
señora.
you. Thank you. And again, this is brought to you by the National Comadres Network, which is part of the organization of the National Compadres Network. And we host this for healing generations. And our desire as you go through life and through this day is to remember, really, there is so much to live for. And we're a place that you can always land to hear healing words, encouraging words to help you along your path. So with that, we sign off. This is Deborah Luis Camarillo from the San Francisco Bay Area.
And Susana Armijo from Los Angeles, California.
And our special guest, Luz Negrón, para despedir.
Muchas gracias.
And with that, bendiciones.
Bendiciones. Adelante.
For more information about Healing Generations and the Healing Generations Institute, visit nationalcompadresnetwork.org and be sure to subscribe to stay up to date with our new releases.